My Father has sent me to the south, and I will go.
And go you shall, but in the good Lord's time, not your own.
Hey!
Dan, from Jackman's Plumbing?
Right, hey,
I'm
shoot!
here to fix your toilet.
Okay, and, Dan, a bit of a stranger...
Whoa!
Dan!
That's the biggest job since that guy blew out a toilet at the Beverly Wilshire.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I've been alone in a car with anyone other than my daughter. Some unusual things have been happening around here lately. Tom, have you noticed that?
Not really. What do you mean by unusual?
I keep hearing things. So you can see if you want to talk anywhere here, or if you want to, here, we can get more light through the, and then we got that backyard. I sent you pictures, but there's chairs over there. We could sit in the backyard. There is also that chair over there. Those 4 houses behind us are new. We had woods we had a lot of privacy with all woods back there. There are deer that live over here. Saw 14 deer in our front yard a week ago. People that are from Waxhaw, when I moved here, they said as kids, they would walk on the top railing across the bridge. Back here's the water tower. They would climb up the water tower up to that area just below the lettering there. Those were two, I guess, kind of rites of passage. I loved playing on the railroad tracks. We'd find wine bottles, and if you found a switch that wasn't padlocked, you put it in between the rails and go back to the switch and throw it, and glass would go flying. Glad we weren't killed or something. Although I took acting courses in college, I was really only in one play during my college years. I thought we needed to save the world somehow. And somehow that was going to be in social work. And a lot of that scheduling kept me busy evenings and weekends, and I couldn't consider being on stage, auditioning for plays. And then I went overseas in a mission group, with a mission group, to do Bible translation. That gave me no time. Finally, as I got older and was staying closer to Waxhaw, I got a few parts on stage at local theaters. She had written a play about Andrew Jackson called A Majority of One, and she asked me to play the role of Andrew Jackson. Learned the script, it was about 30 minutes, and puffed up my hair, looked like Andrew Jackson. I branched off into doing a little Lincoln, but also I was hoping to do reformers that had translated the Bible into English. So I developed a program on John Wycliffe and on William Tyndale, and did 30-minute shows. Had a little difficulty because I had to do all the PR and lugging the equipment and do all that, and started to get a little difficult. And so I fell into the film acting. You just sit at home, you audition, if you get the part, you get the part. You go there, they take care of things. If you don't get the part, you just go to the next audition.
Exactly.
It's pretty easy. It's not very stressful. We've learned as actors, it's not our ability or lack of ability being the reason why we didn't get the job. It's because we weren't quite suited for that role. We just weren't quite what the casting directors and producers wanted. I've had a chance to audition for scenes in major films, and after I'm done, my wife, who reads the sides, the other character that I work off of, I say to her afterwards, "Fat chance." And there is a fat chance.
Yeah. Well, you're on Florida Man.
Didn't work one time, or the jinx worked. I said fat chance and I got a role. The scene where I'm chained to the bed took 20 minutes or something total when I was in that room. but I was a couple hours getting hauled on a stretcher, and the main character's talking, and in the background you see me for about 1 second. And we filmed about 8 times. They got me fitted. They'd gone shopping, found extra long sleeves. They found my size for shirts. I said, now what do I do tomorrow? I go to set, I go to camp, whatever. What do I do with my valuables? What do I do with my wallet? I was asking the wardrobe people, because they were the first people I saw. And a lady laughed at me and said, ha, you're gonna have a trailer. Don't worry about it. So I go there. They pick me up in a van, bring me over to the actual set, bring me in the building, set me in the green room. The guy comes and gets me when I go on set, takes my shoes, puts the slippers on me that I'm going to use for the scene. And then later when I was done, he came and brought me my shoes and put them on. I was treated like a king. I even got paid.
That's incredible. So
I'm hoping
yeah.
still. because of that, I keep trying.
Yeah. What appealed to you about your character and just the project on Cranky Frankie?
Okay, he's wacky, but he was trying to encourage his niece. I guess she was my niece, played by Ray Craft or whatever her name was. I have this one scene where I just turn to her and tell her, I don't remember all the lines, but tell her to
There's
just...
only one person who can shift the tides here, kiddo.
Who's that?
You, obviously.
Just to have that little chance to encourage somebody. That had to be motivation. And of course the acting classes talked about, not say I do all these proper things in my life, but it was one teacher said, these are slices of life and you just do one little part. So you really try to think it through and what's right about this, what should be done, how should it be. I want to show this slice of life correctly, or how it could be anyway.
Yeah.
The coming out of the bushes and dying, that was not a lot of method there.
Please call 911! Oh shit. I don't think my heart is beating! I think I'm gonna die! Help me, please, sir!
I can't. And the lady next door came out of the house and said, should I call 911? So it must have looked real or sounded real.
Yeah. Is it experiences like that that kind of create do you have a preference for film or TV or theater? Is there any one that you gravitate more towards?
I love it all. I love everything. See, that's my nature. I love serious roles. I love comedic. I guess the tender things where you're learning something about life with the character you're off of is best. What I would love at my age, to find a character that's suitable for my age and be in a series for a few years and be able to really know that character and the other people that I'm relating to, like I really knew them. And I think that's what happens in something like that. But for now, I'm going to keep working, whatever it comes, if it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
You're going to see me dump coffee because I've had 2 full cups, and the third one was a prop.
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to have an arrhythmia on my heart.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't. This is not.
2's my limit. Hey, this is where I grew up. See that car there, that GMC? It says Minnesota. I'd like to talk to that guy. Where are you from?
So once I edit this documentary,
Good luck.
it's going to be screened in front of a lot of young people my age. Do you have any advice for them?
Okay, you really want to know? Give me a second on this. Well,
Okay,
you can roll
yeah.
if you want. Well, you asked what I would tell people, young people maybe. There's so much advice, but I don't like giving advice as such. I'd like rather be with people. And I learned that for me, it was taking the next step. Things worked better for me if I had a general idea where I was going. Certain times at work, you're trying to sell a product, you're trying to do something, you need to have a plan, a work plan to get there. But I know I want to get there, and as long as I'm going in that direction, take a step. You won't get anywhere sitting there. Of course, in the spiritual sense, where do you want to be when you end up? I do believe there is a God. He speaks to us. He's here, and He's provided a way for us to have fellowship and relate to Him through Christ. Certainly, I would want you to find that path. As Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. People might be offended and say there's lots of paths to God, or my God is this or that. But that's what I believe, and I want to share that. But apart from a literal blast from God saying, do this, I've had to just say, just take steps. And then the other step. You're wondering whether you should go to New York, or to LA, or where? I don't know, I can't tell you, but you have an idea. And go for it. Give everything you got on that step. Who was the standard deviations? Kevin, standard, he talks about degrees of separation, and they do it.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. I got to tell you this. I met some people kind of well known in one role, one SAG role, but I've gotten to audition. In one role, I would have shot at Kevin Bacon with a shotgun. So I'm auditioning. Wow, if I get this role, I get to meet Kevin Bacon. And then I'll be 1 degree from Kevin Bacon himself. They started this thing about 1 degree of separation. And then I had an audition. I would have been against Sandra Oh, an actress I respect. I would have been her boss in an executive board meeting. And then I was auditioning to be the judge opposite Sydney Sweeney in Christie. And I thought, wow, it would be really cool. They later got a woman took the role instead of a male judge, but I would have been telling Sydney Sweeney to be quiet. That would have been so cool.
I think that would have been cool.
That's one reason I keep going. These are only scenes, but I've had friends around Charlotte that have been in like Lincoln and other major movies, and so they've had fun. So part of it's all fun. So I'll dream a couple more years.